Episode 2, Holy Body. Where am I now? Could it be that I've already arrived at the netherworld? As David gradually regained his consciousness, he was puzzled by lots of riddles. This was a world as dark as it was enveloped in dense fog, quiet and strange. The ethereal smoke was like the demonic mist, and it emanated threatening cold aura. Rumble? Suddenly, a strange energy wave came from the sky. David was startled, and he saw the incomparably vast 9 Empyreans emit a dazzling silver light. The silver light gave rise to endless fog that surged like a tide. With the thunderous sound of the sky, the momentum was running high. Suddenly, an incomparably gigantic nebula vortex appeared in the sky. It seemed that the terrifying aura of a vast ocean was going to swallow David at any time, who was standing just under the stormy nebula vortex. At this moment, a soft but resplendent radiance appeared in the sky. In the sky directly in front of David, a pair of purple eyes appeared strangely, as they were partly hidden and partly visible. Those were a pair of huge eyes, and their pupils were devilishly purple. It was so strange that it seemed as though they originated from the extremely terrifying eyes of an ancient demon god. That pair of purple eyes coldly and indifferently stared at David. This kind of feeling was as though he was looking at a certain god. David's heart was filled with fear and bewilderment. Then, before David could recover from his shock, something even stranger happened. A blurry primal chaos world suddenly emerged from the rear area of the pair of purple eyes. Countless stars dotted the dark sky. In a wink, a vast and boundless primal chaos world enveloped the entire space. Under David's astonished gaze, a faint black shadow appeared in the hazy sky behind the pair of gigantic purple eyes. The black shadow was 30,000 meters tall and had the outline of a human figure. He was freely standing in the universe, and he gave off a strong momentum as if he was the unrivaled devil that controlled the world. "What the hell?" David blurted as he was completely stupefied. What exactly happened now? Right at that moment, the pair of purple eyes suddenly burst out a magnificent radiance. That tide-like purple light was like a flood that had broken through a dam, howling towards David from all directions. David's pupils shrank to the size of a needle. Before he could even react, the earth-shattering purple light immediately enveloped him. Quick as a flash, a thunder-like voice exploded in all directions. "Holy body of demon eye, awaken now!" It was a sunny day after the snow. The brilliant sunlight shined brightly. This was a place far away from cities, a place where ups and downs of mountains showed a sense of majesty. At the peak of one of the mountains, which was filled with spirit energy, there was a large courtyard. On the west side of the courtyard, there was a path pillar. 9 unique stone pillars were erected at the edge of the path pillar. There were many mysterious and complicated divine inscriptions on the stone platforms and pillars. The divine inscriptions flickered with a gentle light as they flew from all directions, converging onto the body of a young man who was lying in the center of the path pillar. The youth's eyes were tightly shut as he fell into a deep slumber. In addition, the youth's body was covered with wounds. Several long and narrow wounds covered his chest, and even the meridians in his limbs were cut off. The wounds on his wrists and ankles were horrifying. At the top of the path pillar, a middle-aged man with a gentle appearance could be seen performing complex hand seals. Every time he completed a seal spell, the energy waves emitted from the divine inscriptions on the path pillar and the stone pillars would become stronger. When the middle-aged man finished the last seal spell, the youth in the center of the path pillar released a strange purple light. Soon afterward, the violet light was absorbed by the youth's body like the water absorbed by a sponge. The divine inscriptions on the path pillar and stone pillars also quickly dimmed. Aha! The middle-aged man let out a sigh of relief as he looked gently at the youth on the path pillar. His lips moved slightly as he muttered to himself, "Back then, the Master said that you would encounter this tribulation, and it really did happen. After this calamity, I will help your blood lineage of demonic pupil awaken. I hope that one day you will be able to reproduce the shocking power of the demon eye." Quick as a flash, the surrounding spiritual strength of heaven and earth became abnormally active. The dense spiritual strength of heaven and earth seemed to have received a call from some kind of power, as though it was 100 rivers converging into the ocean, gathering above the path pillar from different directions. Immediately, the dense spiritual strength was like holy light that fell from the sky, pouring onto the body of the youth below. A ball of faint purple light was released from the youth's body, and an astounding event occurred. The wounds on his body healed at high speed. The wounds on his chest, wrists, and ankles were astonishingly healed. In a short period of time, only a faint mark was left. While the youth's meridians were being repaired, they were also being strengthened and becoming tougher than before. Seeing the scene before his eyes, the middle-aged man looked astonished. He muttered, "Not only did the holy body of Demon Eye help him repair his broken meridians, it also helped him strengthen them a lot. He just awakened, and now he has such power, it's truly surprising." As he finished muttering, the last sliver of spiritual strength of heaven and earth in the sky was immediately absorbed, and the youth in the center of the path pillar slowly opened his eyes. "Where am I?" David looked at the unfamiliar environment around him, and he was greatly puzzled. "This is the Rasak Mountain." When the gentle voice entered his ears, it was as harmonious as the spring wind blowing against his face. David looked at the middle-aged man behind him and became even more surprised. "Who are you?" "My name is Osmond," the middle-aged man replied. Osmond. David muttered softly, and what was certain was that he had never heard of this name before. Then, David discovered in surprise that the injuries on his body had all disappeared, and his wrists and ankles had all recovered. David was startled, and what made him even more surprised was that his cultivation had been improved. "It won't be long before you recover completely," Osmond said lightly. David was surprised and happy at the same time. Simultaneously, his hands unconsciously clenched into fists as a cold light flashed in his eyes. The god truly did not kill me. Even though his tendons and veins were reconnected, the scars on David's heart that appeared previously could not be healed in a short time. As a result, he was still down in spirits. David, who was still in chaos, had even forgotten to say, "Thank you." Osmond's eyes surged with a complex expression, and he immediately said, "Take a good rest and recuperate for a few days first. I'm the only one living here. You can find a room to rest." After saying that, Osmond left on his own. Looking at the sight on his back, David's heart was filled with gratitude, but at the same time, he was also confused. Several days later, David sat on the ground with his legs crossed in a spacious area at the back of the mountain, and his firm body pinned like a boulder. There was a ball of golden strength of true essence rotating rapidly like a cyclone at the area of his lower abdomen. A warm air current gradually spread throughout his entire body, and he was able to recover his lost energy with immense relief. After an unknown period of time, a pair of huge purple eyes appeared in David's meditative state. In the hazy, dark world, above the vast sky, a pair of purple eyes emotionlessly stared at this world. At this moment, the purple demonic pupils released a soft glow, as if they were purple suns that hung high in the sky. In the next moment, David clearly felt an additional bizarre and powerful strength in his body. This wave of energy fused harmoniously with the strength of true essence and flowed through David's tendons and veins. At this moment, a majestic and vast aura suddenly surged over. At the rear area of the two purple demonic pupils, the sky was trembling. and the stars were moving in their course. And then, an enormous black shadow appeared amidst the primal chaos world. This black figure seemed to be extremely tall, and its external outline revealed its human form, as though it was an unparalleled devil that stood tall in this world. In the next moment, David was jolted awake. At the same time, he felt his eyes sharply painful. David ran to the lake and looked down at his reflection in the lake. He was shocked to find that his eyes had turned purple. On his handsome face, there was a pair of devilish purple eyes. He looked so devilishly charming. However, in no time, the piercing pain in his eyes disappeared, and the purple glow slowly faded away. David's eyes returned to their normal pitch-black color. It seems that you are unable to control the power of the demon eye on your own. David was shocked when he heard the familiar voice. He saw that Osmond had unknowingly appeared 10 meters away. You don't have to be surprised. With both hands behind his back, Osmond leisurely walked towards David. This body of demon eye was awakened by me for you. David was even more surprised. At the same time, he looked at the other party in shock. What did you say? Holy body? Is demon eye a boundary of blood lineage of the holy body? That's right. It's not only the holy body. Osmond's voice paused, his throat slightly moved as he gently spat out a few words. And it's also one of the 10 strongest holy bodies in the world. When the words came out, David was so shocked that he couldn't believe what Osmond had said, and all sorts of expressions of disbelief appeared on his face. Boundary of blood lineage was a powerful physique that was different from ordinary people, and it possessed special powers. For example, those with the body of thunder could control the strength of thunderclap and gather the might of tens of thousands of divine lightning and destroy everything. Those who possessed the body of stars could absorb the strength of stars of the 9 Empyreans to improve their cultivation and borrow the power of the stars to greatly increase their battle ability. Those with the body of lion and tiger possessed 10,000 pounds of strength and could easily tear a person into pieces. It could be said that during the journey of martial arts, one's future achievements would depend on the 2 factors. The first was one's own natural talent. The second was the power of the boundary of blood lineage. There were also 2 reasons why martial artists were bestowed with boundary of blood lineage. One was the bloodline inheritance of the ancestors. The bloodline of the special physique of parents, grandparents, and even ancestors would be passed on to the later generations. However, it was also possible that the strength of bloodline boundary would gradually weaken and eventually disappear completely. Another thing was that a cultivator's physique had mutated, and the new strength of blood lineage boundary was born. This type of mutation could be divided into the innate mutation and the acquired mutation. The former occurred during the mother's womb, while the latter underwent some sort of mutation during one's growth. The strength and uniqueness of the boundary of blood lineage decided the starting point of a martial artist. A genius without a boundary of blood lineage and a genius with a boundary of blood lineage might be able to reach the same height in the future. However, with the same talent, experience, and hard work, the amount of time a genius with a boundary of blood lineage would take was far less than those without a boundary of blood lineage. The physiques of boundary of blood lineage also had levels. Ordinary people would call it an ordinary body, but Lucas, who was the head of the 4 great geniuses of Young Sect College, possessed a body of lion energy that belonged to the martial body. In the Holy Star Kingdom, geniuses with martial bodies were always sought after by others. Above the martial body, there was war body, mysterious body, and the legendary holy body. The stronger the boundary of blood lineage was, the greater its future achievements would be. Of course, during the cultivation process of the martial arts, the level of boundary of blood lineage could also be upgraded based on one's own strength and various external factors. However, the process was unimaginably difficult. David was in complete disbelief. The boundary of blood lineage he had possessed was actually the legendary holy body. This was simply too unexpected. Seeing that the other party was not joking, David clenched his fists and asked, "Who exactly are you? Why did you help me?" "It's very simple." The corner of Osmond's mouth curled up into a faint smile, and his throat rolled up and down as he softly spat out a sentence. "Because we have the same eyes." Just as he finished speaking, a strange energy wave was suddenly released from Osmond's body. Subsequently, his eyes turned demonic purple. Boundary of blood lineage, holy body of demon eye.